Hi, I'm Jane Frost. I'm the CEO of MRS, and I have with me Steve Phillips, who's the CEO of Zappi. And I've been hearing some wonderful stories about the creation of the company. But Zappi and Steve have been working on sustainability and green issues for a while. And it happened to come to the front for us, particularly at Inclusion 2019. Goodness me, I have to get the dates right, when we had Extinction Rebellion on stage to talk about what we, as the research sector, could do to prove and make our contribution to this really important issue. Frankly, no sustainability, no change, no tomorrow, I suppose you could say. So Steve, did you just want to say a little bit about where you personally come from on this issue?
Yeah, sure. I think we at Zappi have been interested in, we're in the process of going through and becoming a B Corp, and that is about balancing profit, people and planet. And we have made some efforts on the D&I side. We've signed the pledge on that, and we're big supporters of what the MRS is doing in the diversity space. And I suppose the missing element for us was planet. We had started to go through the process of becoming carbon neutral and looking at our sustainability practices more widely. And then it started being discussed at MRS. So I thought I should volunteer and see if I could help out in any way.
Well, thank you, because clearly you are on the process yourself in your own organization, and I'm sure that'll help other people understand and get to a better place too. Now, we decided between us, didn't we, that a pledge was a good idea on this one. And you mentioned the inclusion pledge that we have in the diversity space, which is going wonderfully well, thanks to the support of people like yourself. Can you tell me a little bit about why you decided a pledge might work now?
Yeah, so obviously the experience we've seen with the D&I pledge, I think, has been helpful for us realizing that that's a good mechanism for people to engage with. Also, the advertising industry has come up with their own net zero, carbon net zero pledge. And I think as part of the wider marketing community, we should be seen and should be leading in this space. I think the industry has a lot to do to help out, but also to understand how other people are and the general public are relating to it. So I think we have a specific and good role to play. And if not now, then when, to be honest, in terms of timing.
Yeah, you're right. It's not something we can put off any longer, is it? So,
no.
So net zero, it could have been a green pledge, but it's a net zero pledge. Maybe you could share a little bit about net zero and what it means?
Sure, and to be fair, it could also have been a sustainability pledge. We as a committee talked through these issues, and there are some people on the committee who are wonderful, who really understand this space, frankly, an awful lot better than I do. I think where we came to the conclusion was that we needed to do something. We needed to make a step. And we can always improve what we're trying to do over time, but let's get as many people within the industry as possible to agree to the first step. And that first step was carbon net zero. So it allows people to understand what their carbon emissions are. We will be providing a calculator, providing a way of relatively simply understanding your emissions, but also giving advice and help about how to offset those emissions so that we can get to carbon net zero relatively quickly, I hope, as an industry and individual companies. But I do see this as a start point, not an end point. I think there are many other ways that all of us can impact and improve what's happening on the planet. And whether that's in our own businesses, whether that's within our supplier base, whether that's with our clients, and whether that's, frankly, with the general public. So I think this is hopefully a first step that everyone can get behind, that is relatively straightforward as a process to go through, and that they can see this as a good way of getting more involved in action in this space.
And if we we've got a date of 26, I think, have we not, for this? Is that a particularly pertinent date?
It is. It's largely because the advertising industry are going for 2027 and we want to beat them. Actually, in serious, it's a 5-year plan. We did discuss whether we make it 2030. My belief is that we need to act quickly. It does give people 5 years to start thinking about this, to make changes, to reduce emissions, and whether that's to do with local travel, international travel. I mean, we've all seen that we can work in different ways in the last year. So actually, I think it's eminently achievable in 5 years by 2026. And I'd hope to get there, to be honest, quicker. But I think it was a mixture of aggression, but also accepting that people did need time to adjust.
Now, there are an awful lot of small and micro businesses in our sector, of course. Do you think you're going to be finding it difficult to recruit them? Are they going to find it difficult to get to net zero?
I certainly hope not. As you know, I've got a background of starting a few small businesses. I've been a sole trader on my own. I know what it's like. I know the pressures on budget, but also time. And so we've tried to create a system that can easily check in with them. It won't take much time. It won't take much cost. As I said, it's a small step, but it is a step, and we need to start making these steps. So I think for whether it's small businesses or even companies as large as, Nielsen, GfK, Kantar, Ipsos, it's very hard for them. They've got obviously a lot more emissions to get concerned about. They've got a lot more different types of businesses within their organization that will have different ways of calculating things and different issues to address. But many of them are doing it. So I think we can all do it. We can do it as an individual in your household. You can work out what your carbon emissions and offset them. When you get an EasyJet flight nowadays, you can just press the offset button as well. So it's getting easier to do. It does require some work. It does require some offsetting expense, but it's increasingly simple.
So is the pledge a long one? Have we got 230 clauses, or have we gone for something slightly clearer?
We were at 230, but we went up to 237 the other day, I think, if you remember, point 13.3b. No, it's very simple. I think it's probably less than, it's around half a page. And it has a few key things. The primary thing is that we will go to carbon net zero. And as part of that, we will be publishing our own statistics. So we will be asking companies to utilize a calculator, look through the instructions around how to use it and how to think about going carbon net zero, publish their statistics every year. As an industry, we should be trying to do that. And then also using offsets. I think there is an issue with offsets in that they're not perfect. Some are better than others. But as I said, it's a step, and we'll be looking to reduce and offset rather than just offset.
Brilliant. So we'll be publishing the pledge on the website. If anyone wants to join in, and I hope lots of people do, because there's no point us doing that unless we can lead the charge, they should get in touch with MRS. We'll be putting up, as you said, Steve, some resources to help this happen, including the carbon calculator. And we very much hope that people will take us up on the challenge, because it's the right thing to do, and because we want to beat the ad sector, of course. It's always good to beat somebody. We have a lot of people helping us, not just the people on Steve's group. And I'm sure there are lots of people who will talk to anyone who's interested. But your first step is just to get in touch with the MRS if you're interested in signing up for the pledge. Thank you, Steve. We couldn't do it without you and everyone who's joined in with you. And I'm really looking forward to the sector making a huge difference. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.